So right now inside of scaling, we're currently doing about like 200 and like 60 something K a month right now, right? And I'm just gonna share my experiences of what we're doing and how we're scaling to 1 million a month, and like just the lessons that I'm learning, the skills that I'm developing when scaling this hard. Like this month, we've already added about like 119K in MRR. So one of the biggest things that I've learned is first is just really being undeniable, right? In terms of results, which is literally the most important thing, right? Like I realize that a lot of people online, they try to sell stuff, but they're not really good at what they do, which if you're not, then it becomes very hard to not only acquire clients, but it becomes very hard to keep clients, right? Like right now, we have a lifetime value of over like $6,000 plus per customer, which means because the customers are getting such amazing results, they're staying, they're telling their friends, all that good stuff, right? So part of scaling is just being good at what a person is doing, right? So from there, after that, obviously, another big thing is being able to like automate messages as soon as like people join. I found that that's extremely important because like the thing is when you have a lot of traffic coming in, it's very important to like utilize that traffic, right? Like for example, me, I'm doing like onboarding calls with people. I'm literally calling them and be like, hey, what brought you into this community? Yeah, cool. Like, I get to know them, find out what their goals are, see if they're a good fit, and then convert them into sales calls, right? And sometimes I close them too, right? So something I realize is a lot of people, they're underutilizing stuff, especially if they're getting a lot of traffic. They are underutilizing how much they could capture, right? And I realized in the process of scaling, like right now, there's really not that much people, right? Like for example, there's salesperson, there's like a setter, and then there's like people who deliver, and then there's like the person who markets. That's it, right? And we're pretty much north of 300K almost a month, right? So I realized that, when things click, when you have the right dominoes in place, great things can happen and the possibilities endless. And this is really just the start, right? So another thing I've learned is being able to communicate more, better, right? Especially when there's like teams and there's people and stuff like that, because sometimes there could be misconceptions. Like sometimes, a person might not have access to a certain doc and that can make them confused on what's going on, right? So something I've realized is like being able to have frameworks where it clearly lists out what people need to get, what people need to unlock is extremely important. I'm assuming that's going to be important, especially like when like probably getting even more and more people, right? But yeah, the core principle is just being good at what you do, converting people. Like for example, when we convert people, like you take a cold call, right? People join the school community and we're like, hey, hey, I saw that you joined this community. I'm kind of curious what brought you in here, right? People explain what brought them in there, right? And then from there, it's like, oh, nice, amazing. So like, what's your goal with your community, right? And then people are going to be like, oh, my goal is blah, blah, blah. I want to do this. I want to do that. And be like, that's amazing, right? And then you state some authority being like, oh yeah, currently, we've grown this to this much and we're making this much money. And then you say how you have these amazing testimonials and be like, okay, like, how would being able to make this much help you, right? And then you pretty much can convert people from there into like a discovery call slash like a roadmap call, right? And inside of that roadmap call, what you could do is you can position the call itself and frame it in a way where it is treating them like a client in a way, right? And they find some sort of value in it and they get nurtured. And then from nurture, they can turn into a client. So this process, this onboarding process of bringing a lot of attention and then immediately converting it into high ticket clients is going to be super OP, guys. It's going to be super OP. Like last month, I literally booked over 101 calls, right? This month, I've already like the amount of calls I've booked and the clients I've like helped acquire, like the ratio is so high. It's so high. We've even had people, like I closed this one guy, he was paying 3.4K a month. You see what I'm saying? So guys, a lot of people are underutilizing their traffic. First thing is having clear systems in place. First thing is being good at what you do. Second thing is having a lot of proof, right? Third thing is having proper systems in place to convert that attention into the high ticket.